The easiest business to start is a simple business. Simple businesses are the best businesses you can create. They are definitely the easiest. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and commenting below so that I know to put out more like this. Alright, the best business is a services-based business. And I'm going to show you exactly why over 10 steps of how you can start it. And you'll see the simplicity in a service-based business. I created a video, and you'll see it pop up here, of how to start a product-based business. Those are way more complex and have a lot more moving parts involved. Whereas with a service-based business, you're usually just giving up your time in exchange for money. Alright, let me show you. The first step when it comes to starting a service-based business is to identify a problem. Now, you need to find a problem in your local community or online that you can solve. So for the sake of this video, we're going to come up with an example. Let's say you in your local community have started to notice that long grass is growing closer and is causing a fire and security risk. That's a problem, right? Now, the question is, does your local community know about it and is doing nothing about it? Or two, doesn't think it's a problem where you have to go and show them the risks involved so that they do understand it's a problem? Or three, it doesn't really matter. It's non-existent. People know about it, but they just don't care and they're fine to have it there. It looks beautiful, whatever it is. That's the first thing, is to find a problem. The second step now is to develop a solution to solve that. You have long grass there, community, that causes fires, criminals might hide in it. You need to cut it down. But guess who can cut it for you? I can do it, and I'm the solution to your problems. That's step two. You found a problem and you presented a solution. But it doesn't stop there. The third step is that you need to identify the tools you need to solve that problem for them. Now, when it comes to tools and business, when you're starting off, you want to make a very, very simple choice when it comes to what you're going to use, which means either using the cheapest or free tools that you can find to start that business. And then over the long term, once it starts to get traction, to reinvest and upgrade your tools. But I suggest starting as cheap or as free as you can to start that business off and to reinvest into it later. So you need to find the tools you need. For the sake of this example, you would need a weed whacker or a lawnmower or something along those lines, but you need that to solve the problem, to cut the grass. The fourth step is to figure out how much time will you need to complete that service. Now, as I said at the beginning, you need to know how much time you're going to invest to solve the solution because you're offering up your time and skill set to figure it out. So you need to calculate how much time it is. Let's say there's 10 houses and you've figured out that it will take 10 hours to cut all the grass there. That's 1 hour a house. So now we know we have a time frame for the service. It's going to take 1 hour to cut the grass in front of that house. And that leads us to our next step. Who is your ideal customer? You have your community, and now you understand, is that your ideal customer or is it someone in another community? But who is your ideal customer? And the reason I say that is because you need to know how to target them. Are they affluent or rich? Do they have money that they are willing to give it away for this problem to go away? Or are they more cost sensitive? Do they not actually want to pay for that solution? So maybe a different strategy is needed where you approach the community as a whole and they all put together money rather than, a rich neighborhood where individual houses might just care about their own property and its own safety and security. The next step is to calculate your monthly costs. You're giving up your time, but you need to be compensated. And what that means is that you need to cover your costs as a human being, including rent, electricity, food, transport, the tools I mentioned, and any kind of profit or savings that you want to start accumulating over the long term. So you can see the steps here are gearing towards understanding how much are you going to charge for your business. And that's where you determine the price factor. So you know how much time it's going to take you. You know the tools, how much they cost, the other costs involved for your monthly expenses and everything associated with that. And so you have the time factor, the cost factor, and the profit factor. How much do you want to keep after all your expenses have been paid? Those three factors will help you determine what price to charge, especially whilst you understand who your ideal customer is. If you live in a rich neighborhood and there's only 100 houses there, then you know your market is 100 households. That means 100 hours per month. So if you're going to target at least 30% of them, how much would you charge to make it worthwhile to cover all your expenses whilst you grow the business? The next step is to create packages around that. And the whole idea here is that it might be fine to have a simple service that you just solve one problem. But once you've got the first dollar from your customer, it's extremely easy to get the next one. Because when you're getting that first dollar, you have to develop trust, you have to prove yourself, and you need to show that you are capable of doing what you say you can. But once you've done the job, to get the next dollar is much easier than that first. And there's a concept called customer lifetime value. You want to get the most amount of value out of your customers over the long term. In terms of acquiring customers, it's much cheaper to target your existing customer base than go and find a new one. So with your existing customer base, what packages can you create to upsell them and get more value from them over the long term? How that might look like in our examples, let's say you'll cut the grass outside of the community by their walls so that you remove that threat. But why not once a week also come and cut their grass inside their house, or do some landscaping, or help them move something heavy? There's a lot of packages you can create, and in this simple example, to upsell your customers and get more value from them. The next step is to approach customers and sign them up. This is marketing. You have a problem that you've identified, you've found and developed a solution, and now you've calculated your costs, now you've found a pricing model that works for you, and now you need to go and get your customers. In this example, you need to go knock on their doors. But the generic principle is to go where your customers are. If your customers are on Facebook all the time, you want to go advertise on Facebook. If your customers are quite young, then you might want to go to TikTok and find them. You need to go where your customers are, where they are most comfortable, so that when they see your advert, they will click it. That's the whole concept there. But the physical service like cutting grass might require you to go and do the old school method of knocking on doors, or putting pamphlets out there, or getting a large sign that you can put outside the community. So you need to go and market to customers, approach them, and get a portfolio going, get a few customers. Word of mouth will be the most important marketing tool you have. The last step, but the most important one, is to undersell and over-deliver. Doesn't matter that we've done this whole process of getting to your customer and getting them to give you that first dollar, but if you don't do a good job, it's all been worth for nothing, right? You want to grow a sustainable business over the long term. You want repeat customers, and it's not just about getting this large amount of money up front. If you wanted to make it sustainable over the long term, you need to ensure that you do the most incredible job out there, that you have your customers' trust, that you never drop the ball, so that no competitor can come and take them from you, and that you develop such a relationship with them that you are their go-to guy or girl when it comes to solving their problem. So that is the 10-step process, really, in a nutshell, of how to start the easiest business there is out there. But it's going to be hard work. It's not an easy thing to do, and that's why not everyone starts a business. But I can tell you that it is one of the most rewarding things you can do, and it will help you in more ways than you can even understand right now. So that's the 10 steps. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing or liking or commenting, so I know that it's something you guys like and want more of. But other than that, have a great day. Cheers.